Come on, you know that you can keep trying to find that one manifestation technique that will finally get those repeat circumstances to change all you want. But if it's not changing who you're being in the moment things aren't going your way, it's not going to manifest what you want. And it's for that exact reason that I'm not giving you another generic visualize the end process. I've worked with too many clients to know that improving that skill is not necessarily the solution. What nobody teaches you is what's causing the manifestation technique to fail. How to catch the exact point where you go from being the desired end to letting the 3D life out there dictate who you're being. And more importantly, what to do about it once you see it, right? So in today's video, I'm going to walk you through my diagnostic process that I take with clients. Despite a third-party situation, she manifested our SP back. Great. But it didn't happen until we removed every technique aimed at getting him to change. And here's where a common problem lies, one almost everyone runs into. Knowledge of techniques will tell you what should work. Knowing who you're being will tell you why the technique hasn't. So if you're here because you've exhausted every method, it's not that you can't manifest. It's invariably because you don't know the version of you that is showing up. And I'm not referring to the version of you that meditates and scripts or feels good when you're alone. I mean the version that's actually running the moment reality is the exact opposite. So let me open my laptop here. I am going to project it onto your screen and I'm going to walk you through this problem into the solution with you. So here's where she started, right? So at the top we have our current circumstances. There was a specific person and a third-party situation that had already materialized into her life. It was a tangible situation. And this is what she was doing about it. She was meditating and visualizing the end, living from the version of herself that had already been chosen whilst using those techniques. And that appeared to work. And you'll agree that in part it did, right? Because that version of her is what actually brought him back in. However, here's what's happened next. The moment he was actually back in front of her, or when she was speaking to him on the phone, she shifted straight out of that state and she started waiting for him to confirm what she'd been visualizing was true. On top of that, she was waiting for him to choose her for the evidence. And what did that get her? Well, instead, she'd hear more excuses, experience the same old indecision, which meant she'd spend her energy trying to recover that identity when they were apart, trying to get him to decide differently using the same methods. And that was the pattern, which meant the entire routine she had in place was built around recovery, not manifesting the change she actually wanted long term. More importantly, it led her to conclude this, and this might be familiar, that manifesting an SP wasn't possible for her, and that every attempt was just handing her more and more evidence that she'd always be rejected in relationships, when in fact, neither one was actually true. She was still waiting for reality, for him, to confirm whether what she was manifesting was working, right? Whilst operating from the knowing, she is repeatedly disappointed by him. Now, this client had 20 plus years of manifestation knowledge. She could have recited the cardinal rule of manifestation without a second thought. We are never manifesting a change in someone else. We are manifesting a change in who we are being with them. But knowing that and actually living it in the moment it counted were two completely different things. So here's what resolution looked like, and in two ways actually that will be helpful for you. This is the rule I live by and what I teach my clients when it comes to life out there. When you're first asking for a healthy, committed relationship, life as it's designed will reflect to you exactly what you currently believe about that subject. And it does that so you can either accept the type of love that comes in because, you agree with it, you like it, or it will bring in someone that reflects what needs to change within you in order to get it. But that is the extent of which the reality out there plays a role in how you consciously manifest and the change you are making within you. Why? Because when you're actually using techniques to manifest that change, if that's the route you've chosen, you must remove authority from anything and anyone outside of you altogether. It can't keep dictating who you are anymore. It doesn't mean you don't see what's going on or have to hide from the outside world. This isn't a passive experience, okay? But it does mean you stop letting him tell you whether you're loved or chosen or even in a relationship at all. You don't let out there tell you who you're now conscious of being within you. His behaviour stops being the referendum, the authority. So, in this client's case, for all she had a history of rejection, that wasn't what was manifesting the outcome with her SP. So simply repeating, I am chosen, was never going to be the solution that got her the relationship on its own. What actually needed to shift was much narrower than that, and I'm going to show you. It was here. The moment she was speaking with him or seeing him again, she became the disappointed party in that exact interaction. So it was that expectation right there that kept manifesting the indecision that her brain was perceiving as rejection. And proof manifestation doesn't work, which caused her, to feel that pain, that in the heart space, that drop to her stomach she described, which drove her to use the same manifestation techniques to recover and avoid those feelings. It triggered the entire pattern. What actually brought them into the relationship, though, was this. I am the woman who is fulfilled in this relationship. Now, once the exact point causing this to fail had been identified, she was able to withdraw authority from the 3D completely. And this meant before reading any text, before seeing him, even with a third party present, before any time they met up, she went into the state, I am the woman who is fulfilled in this relationship, because you've got to live it. And that choice was her entire evidence. Now, why did that, as you may perceive, change his mind and make him choose her? Because she was no longer in the state of being disappointed by him. She was no longer waiting for what he said, did or didn't do to dictate whether she was in that fulfillment or not. And therefore, there was nothing to recover anymore. She was just being it consistently. Manifestation is always successful when you know yourself well enough to pinpoint exactly which state you're shifting into. And you don't always have to unpick an entire historical relationship pattern, as this diagnostic call proved. But as I've said before, especially when it comes to the subject of relationships and money, if the manifestation techniques aren't producing the results you want, they aren't the problem. It's who you become when life reflects the opposite. And you cannot change what you cannot see. Thank you for being here, for joining me on this journey. If you're facing a similar situation and want to resolve this entirely so that you don't have to consciously manifest the change you want to experience, how to work with me is listed below.